hang on 1 second. Let me get my light better working here. Hang on. Need to get my better light on because that way you can see. Wait, that one. Good enough. Okay. All right. I know. I hope everybody is doing A-okay during our quarantine here. So I've been great. I've just been doing everything from home. So hopefully everybody's kind of staying home and chilling. I know that the weather here in Nebraska ain't the best, but it's going to start getting better next week. So that'll be A-okay, right? So ready for spring. So we're all getting like heebie-jeebies, but at the same time, at least we just want to be able to open our windows. So we can't even open our windows right now. So gross. So hi, everybody. Let me make sure this is right. So this is one that we're going to be talking about grounding, shielding, protecting, all the good stuff. So, and I find it fascinating that it's the perfect time to be talking about this because right now a lot of people are very ungrounded. And what do I mean by ungrounded? So people that are having like major anxiety issues, people that are having some drama, people that are like really kind of spacey, la, and they can't focus or concentrate, which has been the last 2 days. People that are relatively argumentative or they're really like edgy and they're normally not edgy. That's all been happening the last couple days. And a lot of that is because we are ungrounded. So you may have noticed like 5 days ago, so right at the end of March going into April, you might have noticed a lot of like heart palpitations, a lot of ear ringing, like tons of ear ringing. So, and even itchy ears, top of your head just was kind of sore. It kind of hurt to touch. Lots of weird headaches right here, back behind the head, down the neck. Like we weren't right. And everybody kind of was like, la, and they were really uncoordinated. So whenever that happens, that means that you're simply put ungrounded. So that's been happening. So the last 2 days, we've been kind of coming off that peak of activity. I think Mother Nature was just kind of shaking some stuff loose a little bit. That's hence the what happened in Idaho. There was a bit of an earthquake there, so that had something to do with it a little bit. But a lot of it was there was a huge shift of energy. I've never felt a shift like that before. I had to really meditate on that one and be like, kind of tap in and be like, okay, guys, what the hell? So it was their way of reassuring us that they're all kind of here. So, and I think that's why we kind of quite literally felt their energy. Like I said, headaches, the sleeping, nobody slept. We all were getting up at midnight and at 3 a.m. Like nobody slept worth a crap. So, and dreaming batshit crazy. So that's been the other half of it too. So all of that, what it did with this energy when it happened, it literally blew open our heart chakra, our throat, our third eye, and our crown. But what ends up happening is that we forget about the root chakra. And without adjusting or readjusting after a shift like that, it's really difficult for a lot of us. So, Templeton, stop. So it's been, I mean, today is at least a little bit better, but it's still not quite right. I know that you guys aren't quite still right either. So, you know, that's why I'm like going, this is awesome that we're talking about this because this is exactly what we need to be doing right now. So, I don't know about you guys, but yesterday was pretty nice outside. I literally starfished myself out on the grass for a good 10 minutes. My kids are like, Ma, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm grounding. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah, you should join. By God, they did. And then we all just sat there and we're just like I said, we all starfished. And I'll tell you what, that was really great to kind of get us back in check a little bit. So that's why I'm really kind of excited about talking about this. Electronics. Yeah. You may notice that our lights are kind of blinky winky. I saged yesterday, and I usually sage on every new moon, but yesterday I just saged again, and the electronics aren't right. So you'll notice that maybe we might get some glitches here, but we're going to roll with it. Like I said, what do we do? Hey, could you guys stop? Seriously, stop. I'm trying to do a video here. Come on. So talking to my animals. So But like I said, we've all had that really weird, I don't know. It's just been weird. It's been weird. And it's been weird for me, and I'm weird. So if I'm telling you it's weird, it's weird. So, but I think a lot of it is that when we had this big fit of fear, I think our spirit guides, angels, loved ones all kind of came down and helped kind of guide us through it. It's starting to kind of wane off a little bit. I mean, we're still having some anxiety issues, but a lot of my empaths especially been having a harder time with this. And I'm going to tell you, if you're an empath, which is somebody who can feel other people's emotional states very well, I want to make sure that you're turning off the TV, make sure that you get your time out, and understand that a lot of us are getting anxiety, and we're not anxiety-ridden people. I'm not an anxious person. I don't have issues with anxiety, but I did the last couple days. And again, it has everything to do with me picking up on the just total vibe here. So like I said, I thought it was me. I'm like, okay, what am I so scared of? What am I fearful of? And I couldn't stick my finger on it. And then I realized it's everybody else's stuff. So if you have issues with anxiety and depression, this is going to help to kind of get you back to a base level. So that's why I'm like, I'm really glad that we're talking about this. And I'm really glad I'm offering this one for free, because I really want to get the word out on this one. So if you haven't noticed, there is a chat bar. By all means, go ahead, ask some questions, but I'm going to kind of go through basically first how to ground, and then I'll talk about how to shield or protect. All right. So, and that's why I'm like going perfect timing. So just like I said yesterday, what I was doing was I starfished myself outside. There's number one, get outside. Literally feet to earth. And that means taking off your shoes, standing in the grass, and it takes 5 minutes. It takes 5 minutes. If you got those weird headaches, like I said, it's going to be right here in the middle, or it's going to be off to the right side. Remember, that's intuitive. So that third eye chakra is open, but it's probably a little wonky. And if that's the case, literally get outside. It takes 5 minutes to get you back to normal. All right. So anything outside, biking, hiking, I give no crap. I don't care if you hug a tree. I don't care. Actually, I'll tell you, if you can get your back against a tree, that really helps. So, because trees are natural grounders. So, and I know fully aware of how Hillary's like, bitch, it's allergy season. I'm like, oh yeah. I'll come up with some other tricks on that one. So, cause you're right. Cause allergies, my son suffers from serious seasonal allergies. So, we'll come up with some stuff. So no worries. Like I said, first thing, anything outside. Obviously, if we have major, allergy issues, we won't do that. But that's the easiest way to ground. It really, really is. The other way to ground, another easy way, is grabbing your black crystals. Now, the two best ones for this, black onyx is a huge grounder. And I know a lot of women are not really attractive to that one in particular, that black onyx. Guys, dudes love black onyx. If you've never noticed guys' jewelry, almost always it's black onyx. So because it's a major grounder, it really releases fear. Remember, we're talking about the root chakra. Root chakra deals with survival blocked by fear. So these are all little tips and tricks that we can use to kind of help buckle down that fear a little bit. So small bag of potting mix. Perfect. So again, grounding. Plants are great inside a home, which is my number 3. So outside of these, but like I said, obsidian is fine. Anything black or red, I don't care. Anything black or red, and you want to kind of have it on you. So this one is smoky quartz. I have a smoky quartz point. That's this one. This one is literally pointed right at me when I sleep at night. So I'm like, I sleep with this one pointed right at me because I need to ground because I can't sleep. I literally have 3 of these suckers in my bed and underneath my, in between my box springs and my mattress. So if you know you got a loved one that needs to ground down because they're anxiety ridden or whatever else, stick these in between the box springs and the mattress. So they don't need to know, especially kids. Don't tell the kids what you're doing because they love rocks, right? So they'll just grab your crystals and be like, yay. So I'm like, don't tell them. So like I said, this one that I have is black onyx. So that's what this one is. And you notice the little striations in it like that. So that's black onyx right there. And then this one is smoky quartz. So these are great grounders. This one's a smoky quartz point. You can get it tumbled. It doesn't matter. So I also have black obsidian. So this is a piece of obsidian. And then I also have a piece of black tourmaline. So there's my piece of black tourmaline. So honestly, anything black. And I'm gonna tell you, obviously I want you to get it from Awakenings, but right now there's not a lot of money floating around. I'm gonna tell you, go outside and get yourself a black rock. So you wanna know why kids always go outside and bring outside in? There's a reason. It helps to ground them down. So that's why really intuitive or naturally intuitive children will go outside and they'll bring in sticks, pine cones, rocks, all those things that outside, they're bringing outside in to help ground and center. So I would even tell you, if you want to go outside and try to find some pine cones, great. Put them in there. Put like make a basket of them. It's fine. It's a grounder. All right. So like I said, hopefully that one is kind of like jogging your memory here a little bit. So the other thing, and any red crystals work too. So jaspers work great, anything like that. But we try to kind of stay away from the red ones when you want to go to bed, because reds have the tendency to be kind of an upper usually. Not all, but some. And if you don't really know, black is just easier. So I don't care if you have a necklace. I don't care if you have a bracelet. I don't care if you have earrings. I don't care. Like I said, there's not a lot of money to go around. And if you can't afford it, go outside and get yourself a black rock. That will help. All right. So another one that you can do that's going to help to ground you, remember your root veggies. So remember, the easiest way to open up the root chakra is to eat root vegetables. So carrots, potatoes. I'm sure, I don't know about you guys, but I was craving sweet potatoes today. So like super crave. So not only that, a lot of us are craving the carbs right now anyway, and that's just because of all the energy that we burned out the last 3 days. But remember your root veggies, carrots, potatoes, garlic, anything that you pull out from the earth that will help to ground you too. So those are always really good ones to remember. So, and especially if you crave it. If you crave something like that, like carrots and sweet potatoes, it's your body's way of telling you that you need it. So like I said, give the body what it needs. No, alcohol doesn't count, but that's just, we're locked in with children. So fine. So I get it. So, but yeah, usually potatoes are an indicator that we need to work on the root chakra. So the other thing that you can do is that if we can't get outside and we need to ground kind of quick, you literally interlock your hands like this, hold them right here, and then just kind of lean back a little bit. When you cover your crown chakra, it like forces the energy to build up down below. And so you'll notice that, you ever notice that if you're real tired, you interlock your hands, you do this, or when you're trying to think of a problem or try to think of a solution, we do this. So we don't want to be intuitive when we're trying to find a solution. Sometimes we want to be logical. This puts our logic back in check. So interlock the hands, put it just like this. Yeah, my dogs are like literally running right now. They're being assholes. So, but of course it always happens when I go online, right? Why not? Why not? So, but like I said, interlock the hands like this. The other thing that I've noticed, especially with kids with ADD and ADHD and autism, they love to wear the hoodies. So if you wear the hoodies, that's going to help to not only ground you, but it's going to help to kind of shield you energetically speaking. So you'll notice some of the most intuitive kids always have their damn hoodies up. It's not because they're done talking to you, mom. It's because they literally just are, they're trying to be logical and they're trying to concentrate. So they're trying to protect their energy. So you'll notice a lot of kids, especially sensitive kids like me, will put up their hoodies when they go to Walmart, when they go shopping for groceries. And then when they get in the car, they'll put it down. So you're like, what's your issue? So, or the other thing to do is wear the earphones. So that's another way to shield your energy by distraction. So like I said, if your kiddo is really like bitching at you to wear a hoodie, just let them wear the hoodie, mom. Sorry, but it's fine. Same with the earphones. So I always tell my Stevens especially, I'm like, just turn it down low so that way if I try to talk to you, you can hear me. He's like, fine, whatever. So, but usually they'd rather just sit in the car. The other one outside of doing the crown is to stand in what I call power man pose. And I'll tell you, the best way to do this is in the basement. So basement is grounding. So if you can't go outside, allergies, it's going to snow tomorrow. So yeah. So what you can do is put your hands on your hips, like I said, or if not, balled up the fist right here, put them right on your hips, put your feet shoulder width apart and go downstairs. And then what you can do is imagine roots coming out of your feet. If you imagine roots coming out of your feet, you'll notice that your feet will actually dig in. And then when you're done, if you move, you'll actually see that there's footprints there. So you'll notice that. So like I said, that's a big grounder. Imagination is intuition. There is no bit of difference with that. Your imagination is your intuition. So if you imagine roots coming out of your feet, that's exactly what's going to happen. So what I do is I imagine the roots coming out of my feet, going all the way down to the center of the earth and grabbing onto the center of the earth and just staying there for a little bit. Really helps a lot. Really, really helps a lot. Like I said, that's a great grounder. So the other one, let's see here, tree stand. Tree stand. Well, we talked about that one with that power pose. Another one that I'm having trouble finding because nobody wants to sell them to me at wholesale price. They all want to sell it to me at retail price, they're called earthing mats or grounding mats. Now I'm gonna tell you, those suckers aren't cheap. They're like anywhere from $70 to $100. But I'll tell you, they're awesome. They're like a flat mat about this big, and it's mostly made of shungite. And what you do is you plug it in, and there's a grounder in your electrical current, right? So there's a grounder in there, and you literally take your shoes and socks off, and while you're at the computer, you put your feet on this grounding mat. So it helps to literally ground you down and keep you more logical. I've had one. It broke on me because I used it so much. But I'm really trying to find some for the store. Eric and I both are, and we're not having any luck. So I'm trying to find something wholesale because I don't have to retail them for $150. It's ridiculous. So they also have grounding mats for the bed too. So that's another option. So they have like grounding sheets. Now, I don't know how well those work. I've never tried the grounding sheets, so I don't know. So if any of y'all that are watching me have tried those grounding sheets, let me know. But I know the grounding mats themselves work awesome. So I would assume they would work, but I'm trying to think logically how they would work without any black crystals or something like that in it. I don't know. So another easy way to ground that you could do that I won't do is when you're done taking your shower, turn it on cold. So, and cold, for whatever reason, helps to make you more logical and grounds you quick. So if you are having trouble concentrating and you're taking a shower, do a cold shower. So, or a blast of cold after you get done really helps a lot, but I ain't gonna do that. No, I like hot showers. Thank you very much. So, and then the other thing to ground is not now, but get on YouTube and listen to anything with, I think it's like 396 hertz is the frequency of which your root chakra vibrates at. So vibrationally speaking, it vibrates at 396 hertz. So listen to something along those lines. So I know YouTube's got tons of them. You can also do singing bowls. You can also do, what do you call those? Like tuning forks. So any of those would work just fine. So any of those will work just fine. So like I said, that's about grounding. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about grounding, okay? So I know my clock is off. I fixed it. So you'd think since I've been home that I'd have time to, no, I haven't had time to fix it yet. So because if I'm not here, I'm going to Awakenings and helping Eric package everything. So I like to pick up crystals for people. I'm weird like that. So if I see your name and I'm like, oh, they want like this certain type, because you'll order like a smoky quartz crystal, but I like to pick them out for you because I'm weird like that. So, okay. I want to talk about the next one, which is shielding. So we talked about how to ground, how to get your logic back in check. The next one is how to shield or protect your energy from other people. And what I mean other people is like negative energy vampires, anybody who causes drama, anybody who irritates the hell out of you, anything that causes you anxiety or people that may cause you anxiety. These are all things that are going to help to protect your energy from people like that. So the biggest thing I'm going to tell you is that the number one trick I use across the board is doing the bubble trick. And doing the bubble trick is very simple. All you do is you take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. But when you take that deep breath, you're going to do it through your diaphragm. So you're going to take it like the Buddha belly breath. And while you're doing it, all you're going to do is just imagine yourself in this big white bubble. Now, some people like to put themselves in a reflective bubble, like a mirrored bubble. I'm like, brilliant. So I'm going to put yourself in a big bubble. Your imagination is your intuition. So if you imagine yourself in a big bubble, you're in one. All right. So the biggest thing I can tell you is do the bubble trick. And then while you're doing it, you can say it or think it. Usually I say it because I don't like to get things misconstrued, but if there's people around, I'm going to do it in my head. So say something like, God, angels, please surround me with the white light of the Holy Spirit. That's what I usually say. Any of your verbiage works fine. You don't have to say that exact thing. Any verbiage is fine. So any sort of protection prayer with whomever you resonate with is how we do that bubble. All right. That's pretty simple. But remember, ask. Don't forget to ask. A lot of people just expect. I'm like, but you didn't ask. So like I said, got to ask. The other thing you can do is to kind of shield your energy even more. Is to push your auric field out. Now you can do that literally doing it this way, or you imagine your aura going out. And I have a video coming, I think the end of this month, about how to see auras. This one's gonna be fun. So I'm gonna teach you guys how to see auras. But like I said, all you have to do is just imagine that auric field of yours going out. If you're around a bunch of people, pull it in. So if you're around a bunch of people, we don't want our auric fields clear out here because somebody walks through that auric field, we are going to feel their energy. You don't want to do that. So when you're in public, when you're around a bunch of people, keep your auric energy kind of closer to you. Bubble up. So some days it's a double bubble. Other days it's a triple bubble. So depending on what you need. So like I said, just imagine yourself in that bubble. And then if you're at home, push that auric field out. So you do every once in a while want to cleanse your aura. So the biggest thing is that when you cleanse your aura, it's kind of like you just want to imagine, like if you talk to somebody who's really negative, family member, right? And you're just like, oh my God, and you finally get off the text message with them. What it does is that when we call them vampires, they come into our auric field, but when they do that, it's like they take a chunk out of our auric field out. That's why we get tired. So you want to replenish that auric field. Easiest way to do is with a piece of selenite. So I don't have a piece of selenite here with me, but it's clear and white. It's kind of not really clear, but it's whitish. And then you're just gonna literally polish what looks like a little egg. You're gonna polish your little egg with your piece of selenite. That's all you're gonna do. And so it takes a few seconds, and then your auric field is cleansed again. So it's really simple, but like I said, simple works. Keep things simple. Don't make them complex. So obviously, the best way to shield is going to be through saging or smudging or Palo Santo or whatever the hell floats your boat. So if you like sweetgrass, incense, blessed sage spray, there's a whole gamut of things you can use. It doesn't matter. So that really is going to help to clear out any other icky energy that you want to get rid of. So I could tell you that selenite is naturally cleansing too. So it's not a bad idea to put that piece of selenite near your other crystals, because selenite will charge all other crystals. So that's not a bad idea. Selenite really helps with insomnia, but it has a tendency to really give you good dreams. So sometimes almost too much. So that's why I'm like, selenite's great for insomniacs, but for me, I'm like, I dream too crazy. Nope. I go off in places I don't need to be going. So that's what I'm like, But selenite is great because it really helps to charge all your other crystals too. So it's very multi-purpose. That's kind of one that everybody should kind of have in their arsenal. I mean, smoky quartzes, black tourmaline, black obsidian, rose quartz, green aventurine, citrine. Those are all, an amethyst. Those are the go-tos that you should probably have in your arsenal anyway. Yeah, Gwen was saying that she's got a selenite tower. So we have lights, or like literally towers, that you could put a light into and use that as a night light too. So, and then a lot of people put their rings and bracelets on top of them. So that's they're multi-purpose. So that's like selenite, everybody should have a piece of selenite. Okay. The other thing that we talked about shielding, we did talk a little bit about that earlier, was to put that hood up. Put your hoodies up, put your hat on, put a hat on. I mean, have you ever noticed that men that wear a hat are usually very smart, logically speaking? what they're doing is they're covering their crown chakra so they stay logical. But if you try to talk to somebody with a hat on philosophically, you lost them. So because the crown chakra, when it's uncovered, really connects you between God source energy. So when you cover it, it covers that as well. So that's why when you're meditating, you want your hair down. Whenever you want to talk to God, pray or receive, you want your hair down. So that's why you'll notice people in other countries always cover their heads. So there's a reason for that. It's a spiritual thing for them. So that one works, but like I said, earphones. The other one, the best way to shield yourself, the best way is to set personal boundaries. So remember, when you set a boundary, it's not because you want to keep this other person out of your life. It is to protect your own energy because you no longer want to allow that. So when you set a boundary, you're just stating to yourself, I'm no longer going to allow this person to treat me like a doormat. Therefore, when this person calls, I'm going to let the phone ring. So, or if somebody's like there's so many different scenarios with boundaries. The other thing is when you set that boundary, stick with it. Don't cave, because what ends up happening is that you hurt your own self. You get pissed at yourself is what ends up happening. That's like, once you set a boundary, keep the damn boundary. Limit time with negative people. Limit time. Be like, I got 10 minutes. What you need? So that's it. Not like, oh, I have a half hour, and then it turns into an hour. And then by the time you get off the phone, you are completely exhausted. So set firm boundaries. No is no. No is a complete sentence. My empaths love to people please, and they have a really hard time with saying no. But the more you say no, the more you honor yourself. So don't honor other people before yourself. You honor you first. And I know that sounds rather selfish, but my empaths are the least selfish people out there. So that's because I want you to be able to honor your empathy, honor yourself by simply setting up a boundary and stating, no, I'm not going to give you my time because my time is better spent with my children or my dog and not with you. So, and you don't have to tell them that, but that's where the boundary lies, because that's, like I said, you want to honor yourself. You want to honor your own empathy. Okay. The other thing too is that if somebody's just negative and they don't even have to talk, you'll feel it. So how many of you guys have like entered in somewhere and you're like, I don't like, you just look at them, you're like, I don't like that bitch. I don't know why I don't like her. I don't like her. And it has nothing to do with the way that they look. Or a guy has nothing to do with the way, I mean, you can have your eyes closed, but somebody's energy over here is foul. I can feel it. I'm like, those are the people you want to avoid. But my empaths are like, well, they need a hug. I'm like, no, let them sit in their own misery. No. So that's why I'm like, my empaths want to go to the rescue. And I'm like, girl, you're going to get blown up. You're trying to rescue somebody off the track. And then what ends up happening is that you get hit by the train and then they resent you for it, even though you had the best intention. I'm like, no, let them learn the lesson. Don't obscure somebody else from learning a lesson. Let them learn it. Hard as that may be, especially as a mother with children. I get it. It's really difficult for me to go, oh, she's going to get her teeth kicked in and she needs to. And it happens. And then I'm like, okay, what did you learn? So, because it's easier that way than it is for me to rescue my children off the tracks, because I'm preparing them for real world. So real world is not going to be easy or nice on them. I'm preparing them as such. So that goes with other people too. So like I said, boundaries. So the other one, some of you girls were mentioning, or some of the guys were mentioning it here earlier, salt baths. Hell to the yes. So I don't know about you, but I took a salty bath yesterday. I mean, it was like I went to go rub my eyes up. It was burning my eyes. So I took a really salty bath, Himalayan pink salt, rock. I don't care what kind of salt, just not Epsom salt. Okay. Again, Epsom salt is good for sore muscles. You got a sore knee, you got a sore hip. Great. Use Epsom salt. But when it comes to spiritual stuff and a recharge of energy and a cleanse, you want to do the regular sea salt. So in a pinch, go ahead and put some put some, table salt. I don't care. But I'll tell you what's great. And Denny just said it. I love this. Put some crystals in your salt bath. Rose quartz is great. Clear quartz is awesome. So like I said, put your crystals, now except selenite. Don't put selenite in there. So, because selenite is salt. It'll melt. So, but like I said, put your crystals in your salt bath. It makes an elixir. So that's what an elixir is if something's been sitting in water for a while, gemstones in particular. So yeah, Dead Sea salt, little bit of olive oil, little dab of whatever fragrance you want. Yeah. So, and some people like to put baking soda in there. Fine. It balances the pH. Nothing wrong with that. So even if you want to do that or, add in Epsom salt with it, it's fine. Now, if you don't have a bathtub, soak your feet. Remember, we're talking about grounding, shielding, protecting. Soak your feet in it. And if you can't do that, then take some salt in your hand, take a shower, and do that. And just let it melt right on you. So that's an easy way to cleanse and shield your energy a little bit better. So yeah, just sprinkle some over here. I usually put it in my hand like this, and I'll do one of these, and I'll just sit there and just let it just get out of my hair, but I'll just sit there for a while, just let it just hit me. So that's the easiest way to really kind of cleanse and shield your energy, but it's a good recharge. It's a really, really good recharge. And then the last one that I can think of would be to detach cords. Now, let me explain a little bit of something with cords. And there's been some controversy where people are like, oh no, I don't want to disconnect any cords. Now, let me explain something. When you die, you aren't taking anyone else with you. When you die, it's just you and God. That's it. Or light source energy, whatever label you want to put on it, okay? So when you die, you're not taking anyone with you. So to sit there and not have any cords attached to you isn't a bad thing. Being able to sit there and not have any cords attached is a true connection between you and God's source energy. Now, here's the deal with this one. The minute you cut those cords, the people that are important in your life will come running. So cutting cords, so what cords are is that you've heard the expression of family ties, right? That's what it is. Family ties is exactly that, cords. The longer you spend time with somebody, the thicker the cord gets. So mothers' cords with their children are very thick. Very, very thick. So families have very thick ties, okay? So every once in a while, you want to cut those ties. So they meet up about your solar plexus. Actually, it's your heart chakra. So what you want to do to cut cords is there's a couple things you can do. What I do is I use my hand. So I'll say something like this, both in the front, and I'll do it also in the back. So I'll cut cords in the front and I'll back. And I'll say something like, God, angels, please cut any ties that may bind me to anyone else. And I cut them all. I don't care. Cut them all from whoever I talked to that day, whoever I read. I got to cut those cords. So you cut them in the front, cut them in the back. You can use a piece of selenite. We have selenite wands. That's what they're for. Selenite wands cut both in the front and the back. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can ask Archangel Michael to come by and get it with your sword. But I will tell you, when you do this, you're going to feel it. You'll feel like a little flutter. You'll feel the flutter in your chest and a flutter in your tummy. So that's that when that cord gets cut. And I'm going to tell you, just stand there for a while. Stand there with nothing attached to you. Because again, at the end of the day, that's all that binds you is between you and God. That's it. So just stand there. But you know what happens is that the minute I cut the cords, what's the first thing that happens? I get one knock at the door. Hey, Mom. And I'm like, what? And then I'll get the phone call. Somebody will text me. Hey, Ma. And I'm like, what? And then Eric comes walking in. Hey, babe. I'm like, yep. So the minute you cut the cord, the other person feels it. The other person feels it and they automatically come back to reconnect that. So within a few minutes, my mom is calling, my brother's checking in, all my friends. So it doesn't take long that once you cut the cord, they want to reattach it right away. And that's fine after that. So the biggest thing is sometimes if you get out of a really nasty relationship and you cut that cord with that person, don't be surprised if they call you back. Your job, do not respond. Do not respond, because the minute you respond, you reattach the cord. Okay. So we want to make sure that when you do this, you're just going to be free and clear after a relatively toxic relationship. So, and sometimes we need help with those because sometimes cords can actually form like hooks. So some people, and it's almost like a PTSD reaction where a narcissist will guilt trip their partner, and they guilt trip them with, that's how they manipulate. And so it takes them a while to get out of the mode of reacting through guilt. So when that reaction, nulls down, then we can cut the cords and get rid of hooks. So this is sometimes where we need an energy worker to come in and help us out with that. So anybody that might understand Reiki or healing touch or any of those modalities might be able to help you with that. So when you cut the cords, it's very much like rebooting a computer. So that's a really good way, Angela, of looking at it. I cut the cords probably 4 times a week, but you got to remember, I'm also reading people. So because when I read somebody, I automatically attach what's called an etherical cord because that helps me to read you better. But at the end of the day, I don't want to know your business. I got my own shit going on. I don't want to know your shit. So I have to make sure to cut those cords. So that way I'm not bound with anybody else, because if they get hurt, then I'm going to feel it, but I won't know why or where or how. So what somebody wants to repeat. So what I say is, God, angels, I hereby cut any cords that may bind me to anyone else. So yeah, Prentic healing does work well for cord cutting. That's true. So, but like I said, any of those modalities, whatever resonates with you, there's no real right or wrong way to do it. There's really not. But I usually use the selenite route if I feel like my hand ain't good enough. Usually, honestly, the best time for me is when I do it in the bathtub. So I usually cut my cords when I'm taking a salt bath. So nothing wrong with that. So like I said, find your own little method modality of doing it, but I have to do it about 4 times a week, but once a week is probably pretty good. So otherwise, I think those are the main ones, really. Like I said, I kind of want to blast through this, and that way I can work on your guys' questions. So, so should I cut mine at least 2 or 2 as a teacher, Lori? Yeah, I would cut them every night. So, or at least once a week. Like I said, you don't want to be tied up, because if one of the kids get hurt, you're going to be like, okay, there's a disturbance in the force and I don't know where it's at. I'm like, it's really irritating if you don't know exactly where it's coming from. So that's why I tell people to cut cords pretty often. So, and there's some people that are like, oh no, we don't want to cut cords. And I'm like, I want my time with God source energy and nothing else attached to me. So, and that really helps to balance out the crown chakra too. So, because like I said, at the end of the day, when you die, it's just you and God anyway. And then yes, obviously, then you'll see your loved ones and meet your spirit guides and all that good stuff. So, you mentioned Reiki. How often would you recommend visiting a Reiki or healing energy person? I go 4 times a year. So, and I know how to balance my shit. So, but still 4 times a year is when I go, just to get me back in check. So it's no different. Like I said, healers are the worst people to be healed. So we're the last people to take care of ourselves. And when I need it, because I feel off. I'm not off, but it's enough to where I'm like, okay, I'm not balanced. I can't figure it out. And I'm like, I'm just going to go get it fixed. So, cut cords more often if you're with several people a day as being a stylist. Yep, I would. And like I said, just at the end of the day, when you take a salt bath, when you can remember. Yes, Johnny, we can, if you send us a picture through Facebook, we can help you identify what crystals that you got. You bet. How often should you cut cords with being a nurse? It depends. If you're an empath and you, for instance, are really thinking about one patient in particular, then you may want to cut the cord. It depends on how personal you get to them, I guess, if that makes any sense. Like I said, because if you have a personal relationship with somebody, that's when that cord really forms. So, yeah, Madison's saying that's why she feels like she's carrying a lot of emotional baggage days after being with somebody. I'm like, oh gosh, we got to get rid of those people. Like I said, my empaths need to have their own space, which I'm like, we're all in quarantine, perfect timing. So, but like I said, make sure that you cut those cords. So you just, like I said, that energy is just between you and God. That's it. And I'm gonna tell you, that's sacred stuff. It really is. So, what about being a Reiki practitioner? I would still get it done with you. So like I said, I would tell, as a Reiki practitioner, even if you need somebody else who can do Reiki on you. So, because like I said, healers are the worst people to get healed. They're the worst people to take care of themselves because they're selfless. They want to help everybody else and not themselves. I'm like, no, you must help yourself first so you have energy to help hundreds of people. So yeah, Alicia, we were talking about some of the crystals to help. Anything black or red, that's really going to help with the grouchiness and the irritation or the irritability, which the last 2 days, everybody's been irritated. So even my husband, if he breathes wrong, I'm like, yeah, we're all there right now. So I'm like, okay, I need some smoky quartz. I need a ground. So, but that's normal with everybody right now. So like I said, the biggest thing is take a deep breaths, take your salt baths, relax. This is going to pass. I'm really hoping, and I do think by June, this stuff is going to blow over, guys. So just hang in there. But right now, I'm telling you, for having 3 teenagers in the house, I'm really enjoying this time home. So, because most of the time we're running off doing this, and this. And I'm like, we had a lasagna dinner tonight, just all of us at the dinner table, and it was awesome. So it's just great to be able to have dinner with the kids at the dinner table, just all of us together. So like I said, enjoy this time right now. You really should. So turn off the TV. Don't watch the negative crap. So like I said, if you're anxiety ridden, if you're worried all the time, you're going to open yourself up for infection. That's just, I'll tell you what, being a horticulturalist, people and plants are the same. If you stress out a plant, they get sick with bacterial, fungal, viral disease. People are the same way. You stress yourself out, you're going to get sick. Chill. This is out of your control. You control your own home and what's within your home. That's all you're in control. So like I said, just chill. Overwhelming feel similar to nesting. Yes, I same. It's like weird. We're all going through our closets. We're all simplifying. We're all simplifying right now, which again, we want to. So the higher you vibe, the more simpler you want to get life. So watch The Tiger King. I don't think I want to. It's sitting for me, and watching TV is so hard. You don't even know. Yeah, homeschooling's been really tough. So, and you know what? That's a really good one, Alicia. A really easy high vibe is watch something funny. So that because a good belly laugh, you know, the one that makes you actually cry, that will last you 24 hours of a very high positive vibe. So laughter actually is a very good medicine, especially right now if you're stressed out. Perfect timing. Mm-hmm. If you cut cords, recently lost a loved one, will you still connect with them? The cord dissolves after somebody dies anyway. So you won't be disconnected to them because they'll be always connected to you. So it's all good, all good. Surrender. Yep. Surrender is the word. So that's the one word I keep telling people all the time. Just surrender. There isn't anything you can do. Give your control to God. And just like, you know what? I'm gonna let you have it. In the meantime, I'm gonna go have a cocktail and watch some Tiger King. No, I don't know if I could watch that. So, although I'm getting to that point where I'm like, well, we gotta find something else to do because there's so much cleaning you can do. So, let's see here. Yeah, redecorating, reorganizing. Absolutely. Remember, whenever you work or cook within the home, that is grounding. So that does help to ground. So working on a place that has several COVID cases, what crystals? I'll tell you, I have at Awakenings, I have something called an immunity kit. So it will help to open up certain chakras and shut other ones down. So it's called the immunity, I think it's the immunity kit. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Immunity cure, no, it's kit. So, but check that one out, awakeningstore.com. I know my clock is so off, right? I'll fix it, I promise. So the other one, somebody said to be still. I'm like, I'm sorry, this is the perfect time for everybody to learn how to meditate. I'm telling you, if you're having a hard time being alone right now, it's because you can't stand yourself. So that's I'm like, get to know who you are. This is the perfect time for figuring out your goals, ambitions, and dreams. This is perfect. I don't care how old you get. You should always have goals, ambitions, and dreams in front of you and be active and work on a little bit every little day. Consistent immunity booster, that's it. But consistency is the key. A little bit every day. So a little bit of me writing my book, it'll eventually get done. So that's I'm like a little bit every day will get you to achieve your goal. So don't try to do it like all in one big shot. Ain't gonna happen because you'll get frustrated and quit. So, but like I said, if any practice that you want to do right now with meditation, which I will be teaching a meditation class tomorrow. That one is a paid one. It's $25, and I think it's tomorrow. That's going to be offered via Zoom. So I think I fixed the link. So, but I'm really good about sending the link I'm going to try to do it 20 minutes before it starts. So, but we'll do everything on Zoom just like we're doing here. But we'll do a guided meditation too, so you kind of feel a little bit more comfortable about it. And then talk about some of the problems that we have with meditation too. So Tiffany's asking, grounding, does it work in the garden? Oh no, garden is just fine. Because like I said, sometimes we want to wear shoes, especially if we're walking through poop and you have an open sore. Don't want to do that. So, but anything as far as, like I said, grounding outside, perfect. Like I said, feet to earth is best. If you can't, that's okay. That's okay. Indoor plants, grounding. So indoor plants are grounding. So like I said, if you don't have any indoor plants, just get some. Cactuses are fine for those of you who are not green thumbs. So it's fine. So fake ones don't count. So, but like I said, get some cactus, get something next to a window because that will help to ground. And certain crystals, such as smoky quartz, any of the black or red ones especially, I will tell you, put them at the top. If you can put it at the top of your plant, that would be best. But you could put these near the ground or on the ground because these are grounding crystals. So Mother Nature potted plants will help to charge and ground and clear certain crystals, but especially the black or red ones. So problem with that is that I forget where I put them. And then I ask who took my crystal. And then I usually remember that I stuck it somewhere because it's not my kids that took it. So, how soon tomorrow? The ticket sales stay open till 7, but I go live at 7, so I can't always send the link. So if you could sign up sooner than later, it'd be better. But it's 7 p.m. my time, which is Central Time. So, like I said, we'll be doing a guided meditation with that one too. Work with toddlers. Oh, Frankie, bless your soul. I will tell you, best one for you is going to be the black ones and the green ones. So those two are going to really help to kind of it's going to keep your heart chakra in check. Green does that. Rose quartz does too. So keeps the heart chakra in check and keeps you grounded so you're logical and able to kind of think quick on your feet. So, yes. And like I said, I'm going to be talking a lot about crystals on Sunday, by the way. We're having like a $15 and under. Like I'm going to be talking to you about crystals that are $15 and under. I'm not going to show you the big fancy ones. It's all going to be cheap ones that we can all afford right now. Because I know, like I said, I know money's tight. I get it. So that's why I want to get the cheap type of crystals. And remember, this is like $4. I mean, this isn't nothing. It's not like it's too expensive. So we really, when Eric and I go, we know what to look for now and what prices are great and which ones aren't. So we really, again, try to pass that on to you. So green as in jade, yeah. Jade is great. Jade's a good money manifester too. Green aventurine is too, but jade manifests the money. So that's always good stuff. So malachite's another really good one too for empaths because it helps, again, to keep that heart chakra in check. My empaths' heart chakras are ginormous. My empaths have some of the biggest heart chakras ever, but their throat chakra and their solar plexus sucks. So they always go for the green. And I'm like, you really need the yellow ones. So, because it'll help you. Like I said, anything black or like I said, red is really going to help to ground. We want to ground because that's what's going to keep you cool, calm, collected, and that's what's going to help you with that anxiety. Amethyst helps with anxiety. So lepidolite also helps with even bipolarity. Lepidolite's good because lepidolite, and I'll talk about this on Sunday too, but lepidolite contains lithium. Lithium is the same ingredient that they use for schizophrenia, bipolarity, things like that. So that's a really good one too. The bracelets, can we make the crystals we want or need? Yeah, absolutely. Most of the sizes are going to be medium. So this is a medium size right here. So this is small. Rarely do we have small ones. Almost all of them, we try to go for the medium size. So this would be considered a large size. We do have some large size, but here's the medium, here's the large. So usually most of what Awakenings carries is going to be medium size, which is about 1/2 inch to 1 inch. This one is 1 inch plus. So some of ours do have 1 inch plus, but most of them are going to be the medium size. So just so you know, there are some that are smaller sized, but those are going to be the more harder to find ones, like Moldavite, or, you know, little harder ones to find, which during the show on Sunday, I am going to talk about more of those rare ones that are still within a good price point. So, and Moldavite is on the docket. So I do have that one. Moldavite is a very high vibe. Most people can't handle Moldavite. Any protection from black magic, any protection, the obsidian all the way. Obsidian is the best protector. It's a psychic protector. So if you're into psychic attacks, which I don't believe in psychic attacks, but some people do. So if you feel attacked, then the black obsidian, rainbow obsidian, snowflake obsidian, any of the obsidians are going to be great. So those are really good ones to help kind of make you feel a little bit more protected and grounded too. So how do I slow down the itchy head? Like I said, interlock, do this, get your grounding crystals out. Remember, your crown chakra is open too much. So we want to interlock the hands and do this a little bit. So, but like I said, black crystals are going to help. Amethyst helps a little bit, but selenite's probably the better one for the job on that one. So, baby 5 weeks old, how do you protect his energy? Easiest way, because when a baby is 5 weeks old, they feed off of your energy, Madison. So don't stress. If you stress the baby. So your job is not to stress as to put that onto your child. So the other thing is no yelling in the house. When children are young and there's a lot of yelling in the house, that's how they get ear infections. So again, we want to protect the baby's energy by being cool, calm, and collected when we're around the baby, and we don't want any yelling in the house. So even if the TV is too loud, turn it down. So, because they're not used to that noise. Remember, they're in utero and then they come out of utero and they're like, oh. So we want to kind of keep things in check that way. So fabulous. Yes, I do have a video on chakras. I just did that Monday. Yes, Monday I did a chakra video. It's on YouTube. So if you subscribe to my YouTube, you can check out all my videos. So I did that one too. Best one to protect you from customers' energy. That one's black tourmaline. Black onyx is okay too, but black tourmaline. I want the necklace that all the crystals on it. I see you have one. I do, but they're pricey. But it literally has one crystal. I'm like, one of every kind of crystal. It's amazing. But I think that one's like $100, but it's really long. I mean, it's like you could double it this size around your neck, but it's got one of every kind of crystal. I kid you not. So, but I think it's $100. So, but like I said, it's great. It's pretty, it's great. And it's made very well. But they're pricey. So, all right, guys. Well, I want to thank you guys again for attending. Like I said, tomorrow is the meditation one. And then Sunday is going to be the one about the crystal stuff. So that's at 2:00 my time. So, and I'll be shooting that one live from Awakenings. All right. So that one will be from Awakenings. So you guys can actually see the crystals that I'm talking about. So I'll be shooting that one. And then I think next week I got 2 or 3 videos too. So like I said, I try to do 1 video a week that's free. So at least 1. This week, I think I did 2 or 3. So, but like I said, there's nothing better to do right now. So we might as well learn, right? What a better time. So I want to thank you guys so much again for attending. Make sure that you like this video because it helps me with rankings or something. I don't know. My kids try to explain it to me. I don't care. So just make sure you subscribe. So again, when I send something out there, you guys are getting notified. And then if you haven't, subscribe to my newsletter because that's the easiest way to keep track of me too. So I want to thank everybody for attending. But like I said, grounding and shielding. That's going to be the name of the game for about the next 3 days. Starting next week, we'll see how the energy holds. I don't know if we're going to have another shift or not. We'll wait and see. So, but all right, guys, thank you so much for attending. Bye. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy your weekend with your family or your critters. So just enjoy. Really, it's a good time just to sit and chill. So like I said, surrender, give all your worry to God. Don't worry about it. I'm not worried about it. You shouldn't be either. Like I said, de-stress, ground, and shield. All right, guys, take care. Bye. Thanks for attending.